They go, you don't have a lot of money. And I go, who's thinking about money? I'm thinking about, doing this thing, doing my thing. Who's thinking about money,
Any regrets about the way you worked? You still could have been a professional wrestler and not gone off the top rope into the crowd.
Yeah, I could have, but I wouldn't have been unique, I think, and I wouldn't have been, proud of myself. So I'm proud of myself because I came up with some shit, and no one else done it, and other people are copying. At first they say, "Man, fucking guys are copying me." Now I'm saying, "Ha, they're copying me, but they're not very good at it, but they're copying me." I influenced them.
Right.
They still suck though.
Your injuries, I think we covered this on one of the discs, but what would you consider your top 5 worst injuries?
Well, my neck would be number one when Chris Benoit broke my neck. And that's about it, really. The other ones are just pretty much minor. Like right now, I got a torn rotator and broken collarbone, but those are things that are just ordinary to me now.
Right. The arm, the thing. No?
That was pretty bad, but
yeah.
that didn't really hold me back much. Just my neck. My neck didn't stop me, but it held me back. I felt it for years.
Right. So you'd consider the worst injuries the ones that made it difficult to work.
Yeah. I couldn't work probably. It was like 6 years. I had a nagging fucking neck ache, and it was about 2002, 2001. It kind of eased off. Now it ain't so bad, but from '95 to like 2001, 2002, it was nagging.
Did it ever offend you that you would go out to work, and regardless of how you felt that night or what you did the night before or whatever creative angle you might have been involved in, 1,000 people would have went home disappointed if you didn't almost kill yourself?
No, I made that. I built that. That grave myself, and then someday I'll fall in it. But right now, I'm trying to stay out of the grave.
But the pressure, though.
Yeah, but
you can't have an off night, or they're gonna go, "Oh, that sucks. Sabu didn't jump off the balcony."
Yeah,
tonight.
I feel pressure like that, but that's what I put myself into. I don't really like pressure, but I like pressure.
But that's a pressure you put on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You put yourself in a corner where you've got to put yourself at risk.
But I don't mind the corner. I painted myself into a corner, and I don't mind it.
Something you told me on one of the other shows in talking about yourself, you said I don't play a character, and you said your uncle was very much the same way. The Sheik, it wasn't a character, that was him. But there must have been times where you, as your other alter ego, Terry, would see your uncle in a way nobody else saw.
Yeah, but there'd be some times like that, but most of the time he was 24 hours, that's the way he was. Not running around speaking Arabic, but always the same guy on his way to the ring as he was on the way to the dressing room, on the way to the car, and on the way to the hotel. He was the same guy, Not going crazy, of course, but it wasn't like turn it on, turn it off. It was always on,
How close in your immediate family was the Sheik?
He's my mother's brother.
Okay, your mother's brother. So he was always around, any family functions, and he was always a part of your life, even when you were very small.
Yeah.
The wrestling family fascinates me. I've talked to Lanny Poffo about this, and Greg Gagne. Is everyone kayfabing each other all the time? Like, Mrs. Farhat couldn't come in and say, "Oh, how'd you work last night?" She had to be kayfabed to a certain degree.
Yeah, kind of like, and when I first started, we kayfabed the other parts of the family who wasn't in the business.
Right.
Now, you insult their intelligence. Now, if they don't know, I don't clue them in. But if they ask me, I'll tell them the truth.
Oh, today you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I'm talking about in the 70s.
Back then we worked them. We didn't let anybody in on it.
Would your aunt be talking business?
Of course.
With the Sheik?
Oh yeah, and Carney. She could speak Carney better than me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she knew the business way better than I do. I only know how to wrestle. She knows the business. She knew it better than Sheik did too. Sheik knew wrestling. He didn't know the business part of it. She knew everything.
How much older was he than you?
The Sheik?
Yeah.
He was 59 when I was 19. When I was 21. No.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
So she's passed also, your aunt?
Yeah. She just died last year.
Oh, okay. What about your side of it? Your mom, your dad, did they talk about what Uncle did?
My mom did. My dad was never around, so I don't know what he talked about. But my mom, yeah, she talked about it, but she didn't know. She was just scared for him, and although he was this vicious heel, she would cry for him. It was funny,
Right.
you know.
Well, that's the thing too. When somebody when you're kayfabing your family and the guy is playing a scumbag on TV or some fearsome character, it's like, do you have to go to school and listen to shit about like your uncle's?
No. When I
Devil.
went to school, everybody goes, "Oh, the Sheik's my favorite." But once I turned my back, fuck that Sheik, you know. But when,
did
to
not
my
to
face,
you.
they were his favorite. You know, they were the favorites.
Your childhood in Michigan, outside of your uncle running around stabbing people and throwing fireballs, a normal childhood?
Yeah. See, everybody thinks I know like he took me in the wrestling business when I was a baby. No, he kayfabed me up until I was 19. Which he always knew I wanted to be a wrestler because whenever I came to his house, whenever we came to his house, went to visit him like almost every Sunday for 1,000 years. I'd always stare at him, and then when I said I want to be a wrestler to him, he goes, "I know." I go, "How'd you know?" He goes, "I could tell the way you stared at me for the last 20 years." He just knew it.
Were other guys over for like was Abby there for Sunday dinner?